Is it a serious option to buy one of the incumbents, one of the big car companies for you?
What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another exciting episode of Tesla Today. Today, we're going to be talking about Tesla merger. We're also going to talk about and listen to Elon's thoughts about Level 5 autonomy and what it means for the EV revolution going forward over the next decade, as well as an update on Giga Berlin and how that status is looking. Let's jump into it.
You got the award for lifetime achievement. And I was sitting in the first row with the then very successful and famous CEO of a very big German car company. And I asked him, while you were on stage, isn't this guy dangerous for you? I mean, this looks really serious. He said, oh, no, don't worry. First of all, the whole idea of electric driving is never going to be a mass market.
Sure,
Second, these guys...
Heard that a lot.
These guys in Silicon Valley, they have no clue about engineering, about building really beautiful and great cars, so we don't have to worry. By then, Tesla's market cap was 23 billion. Today it's 536 billion US dollars. The market cap of VW then was 86, and today it's 77. And you are with Tesla 2.5 times bigger than BMW, VW, and Daimler.
I even said the stock is too high. I mean, what am I supposed to do? You know, like,
have you ever considered to buy?
The stock is too high a long time. Like when it was like at $800 pre-split. And they don't listen to me, but you know, I tell you, and the SEC complained again. I mean, like, you know.
Is it a serious option to buy one of the incumbents, one of the big car companies for you?
Well, I think we're definitely not going to launch a hostile takeover. So I suppose if there was someone...
But a friendly one.
If somebody said, hey, we think it would be a good idea to merge with Tesla, we'd certainly have that conversation. But, you know, we don't want to, you know, be a hostile takeover sort of situation.
All right, let's look at this new article. Tesla open to a merger, and Daimler would be the right fit, according to this guys whose name I can't pronounce, on Reuters. And it goes on to say, says Tesla Inc. may have a meager global market share, but with its $540 billion valuation, it could acquire a legacy automaker, which Reuters' Christopher Thompson opines should be German's Daimler AG, which is basically Mercedes. So the right fit, Thompson said, while Tesla's rivals in the United States, such as General Motors Company and Ford Motor Company, hardly fit the criterion for acquisition, but the $74 billion Daimler fits the bill because Tesla customers are aspirational and may be amenable to a luxury marquee. It goes on to say that other candidates that were ruled out by Reuters, Bayer Motoren worked on IG, something German, due to family ownership of Volkswagen due to its own electric ambitions, and Japanese companies due to historical acquisition difficulties. He goes, why Daimler? Daimler has potential to boost the Elon Musk-led company's worldwide card output by nearly 4 times. The Stuttgart-based automaker's presence in China and Europe, the 2 biggest battery vehicle markets, would reinforce Musk's electric offensive, wrote Thompson. He also pointed to the fact that Daimler held a small stake in Tesla in the past, which is great. Says the cherry on the cake is under existing U.S. stock exchange rules, Tesla would require shareholder approval if it sought to increase its outstanding shares by more than 20%. This means, given the company's valuation, it could, in theory, purchase a company worth $100 billion or more. Thompson said that Musk could purchase Ben's empire without even asking us for permission. Good for him. I don't see it happen. Let's see, no hostile takeovers, please, where you just saw that in the interview. And really, that's about it. So that's what we got on the merger story. Interesting. I don't think there's any chance in hell of Tesla merging with any of the traditional automakers, especially not Mercedes. I'm sorry, my wife's had 2. They're pieces of crap, door handles falling off. I mean, some people, you either love them or hate them, I guess. It'd be like us with Tesla, right? We love Tesla. It doesn't matter what they say. The roof flew off down the highway. I understand there's always going to be problems with production lines. I just don't see a lot of positives for Tesla merging once now that Tesla's 6 times larger, 6.5 times larger market cap than Mercedes. Other than its strategic locations, what are you going to do? Gut out their factories and retool them for EVs? Then you have the problem with it's not a Tesla culture. They're a Mercedes culture. So you have to untrain and retrain all the employees. And that's very, very time intensive. Then not to talk about the money involved. How much is it going to cost to shut down that factory, gut it out, retool it for EVs, and train all the personnel up to that level and that standard? I think it's much better for Tesla. You know what you're getting, brand new factory, $1 billion per gigafactory, start from the ground up. Everything's brand new, less legacy problems with that factory, its history, and the people. I want the younger generation excited to be involved with the electric vehicles, with Tesla, with their technology, and wanting to change the world in that way. I don't want the, for lack of a better term, I don't want the old heads that said, hey, we've always done it this way and this way it needs to be done. You're seeing that resistance already with Cadillac. I think you'd see that resistance going with any of the employees of the legacy automakers. Not to mention now you're going to have to deal with unions and union groups and all that kind of stuff. We're only going to work so many hours. It's not good. So I think Elon was very, very cautious in his response for that. Yeah, he might listen to it, but I don't see it happening. No. Sorry, Daimler. Ain't happening. Plus, the vertical integration just isn't there with Daimler, right? So you have to just redo the entire organization. That would not be an easy thing to accomplish at all. So I don't see it happening. Plus, when you're the largest current automaker in the entire free world, why would you want to merge? What does Mercedes bring to the table? There's only really one positive I can see, and that is their commercial van line, as well as they also are part of Freightliner. So, but with Tesla Semi already being there and already established, only thing that's really missing is that commercial van. And I think it's a pretty easy feat for Tesla to do on its own. I don't believe they need Daimler as any type of partner. That's why I do not see a merger happening.
Did you feel a lot of complacency these days that the incumbents then let you feel that you are, I mean, the kind of hopeless disruptor, but they know how to do it, or were they very polite and nice with you?
Do you mean back then or now?
Back then?
Oh, no.
Today, everybody's
super nice. I would not say they were super, no. Yeah, they were difficult to characterize their response as super nice. They used a lot of adjectives. I don't think any of them were positive. So
did it?
We really tried hard to convince a lot of companies.
And the number one reason that I do not see Tesla merging with anybody, whether it be Daimler or somebody else, is simply because Tesla is production limited due to their lack of capacity in those new battery cells. They can't produce them fast enough. So it doesn't matter how many factories they actually bought. They have the money to do it. They're sitting flush with about $4 to $5 billion in cash right now, probably more after that coming up. Still, that money does no good if there's nothing to build and no batteries to produce. So any merger at this time makes absolutely zero sense with across the board. That goes for Ford, GM, Daimler, or anybody else.
But generally the sentiment that was expressed that you mentioned earlier, that was pretty much universal. Especially back in, say, 2008 or 2007, like when we first unveiled the Roadster in 2007, yeah, I mean, it was just basically, they just said, well, you're basically a bunch of fools. Well, I mean, generally they would say like, well, starting a car company is crazy, you're going to lose all your money. I was like, I think I probably will lose all my money, I agree. It wasn't like I thought it would be successful. I thought we had maybe a 10% chance of success. So then people would say, it's going to fail and you're going to lose everything. I was like, yeah, probably true. Yeah. What else is new?
Autonomous driving will be approved. And you said, I do not care so much when it's going to be approved. I care more when human beings in cars will be forbidden. And then the guy said, well, that's really unrealistic. It's never going to happen. In cars, people want to do something actively. And then you said, well, 100 years ago, nobody could imagine an elevator without a lift boy. Today, nobody could imagine a lift with a lift boy.
Yeah.
So when is autonomous driving really going to happen, and when are you able to do it, and when is it going to be approved?
Okay, just between us.
Yeah, that's a very discreet circle here. Yeah.
So, well, first of all, I'm not against people driving, to be clear. So I think people will drive cars basically as far into the future as I can imagine. It's just that it's going to be increasingly unusual to drive your own car. And while it's fun to drive a well-handling car on a winding road in beautiful terrain, of course that's fun. But it's not fun to drive a car in terrible gridlock traffic. Like, going through extreme traffic, that's no fun driving a car. So I think people are unlikely to, most of the time, want to commute or with their and drive themselves. And people are typically spending an hour and a half a day, maybe 2 hours on average driving. Especially say like California or something like that, it's very common. And some people will actually commute like 3 hours a day. Sometimes it's pretty crazy. So if say fast forward to like 10 years from now, I think 10 years from now, almost all cars will have full autonomy capability. All new cars produced. So there's about 2 billion cars and trucks in the existing fleet, and the new vehicle production is about 5% of the fleet size, so about 100 million.
And out of that 100 million vehicles, what percentage do you think that Tesla is going to capture over the next decade? I think more than 50%. Even if we only do half that, it's huge, but they're a contender.
So even to the point at which all cars are autonomous, it'll still take 20 years to replace all the cars, assuming that the number of cars and trucks in the fleet stays constant. But like say 10 years from now, I would say vast majority of cars electric, like maybe 70-80% or more, and almost all cars autonomous. Electric autonomy is absolutely the future, no question. To actually answer your question, I'm extremely confident of achieving full autonomy and releasing it to the Tesla customer base next year. Now, there's a uncertain period of time for when regulatory approval will take. How long will it take? But I think if you are able to accumulate billions of kilometers of autonomous driving.
And we are discussing level 5 autonomy, so really
Yes.
full autonomy. To build a new site near Berlin.
Yeah.
A couple of months later in June you started. You want to finish it by July next year. We did a little tour this morning. It's impressive how advanced it is, and it's almost unbelievable. Germany, and particularly Berlin, is not world famous for finishing construction sites in time and in budget. So where do you sleep tonight?
Tonight's in the factory.
In the factory, not in a hotel.
Well, technically in a conference room in the factory, but yeah.
You sleep in a conference room in the not finished factory tonight.
Yeah, it gives me a good feel for what's going on.
And this is why I bet my money on the second richest man in the world, Elon Musk. What other CEO of that kind of affluency actually sleeps inside his own gigafactory just because it gives him a, quote, good feel for what's going on, a good feel for the place? That is active management. That is a leader. And that's why I'm staying with Elon and Tesla. Wow. You don't think that worked its way down to the lowest level of the new employees that are going to be working at Giga Berlin, that the CEO of Tesla actually slept at the factory? That's that important to him. Hopefully they take that kind of pride as they open up and those Model Ys, those new 4680 cells, start rolling off the factory line next year out of Giga Berlin. Well, hey, that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your support, and please consider subscribing. See you tomorrow. You've been watching Tesla Today.